Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
Hey, I'm Zach. We thought we would just give you guys a simple lesson today on the major scale and how to apply it on the guitar.
That's right, Zach. So the major scale, if you're not familiar, sounds like that. And it's played, this is going to be the C major scale. We're starting out in the key of C. No sharps, no flats. Natural notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Why don't you break down a little bit on how to play that scale?
Okay, cool. Wait, didn't you just do that?
Well, basically, with all of these notes in the scale, every note gets a degree. It's an interval. Okay, so they'll have a number 1 through 7, and then 8 is the octave. And each one of those intervals can be the starting point for a chord or an arpeggio. And all that a chord is a combination of notes. In this case, we're playing triads, so there's 3 notes stacked together, or an arpeggio, which is the same notes as the chord, but it's just broken up. It's called a broken chord. That's what arpeggio means. So if you play the chord like this, C, that's a chord because they're happening together. And an arpeggio, even so simple as that, even as breaking the chord up like that, could be considered an arpeggio.
Yeah, that's true. So let's have Tom play a couple of the chords, or we'll go through the major scale here, and I'll play the corresponding arpeggio, so you know what arpeggio to play with what chord.
The first one is going to be C.
C, E, G.
And then D minor.
D, F, A.
E minor.
E, G, B.
F major.
F, A, C.
G major.
G, B, D.
A minor.
A, C, E.
B diminished.
B, D, F.
And then the octave back to C major.
C, E, G.
So one of the reasons that I think it's really, really important to understand the major scale is because in the context of chords or arpeggios, when you hear people talking about chords, the numbers that they put after a chord all have to do with intervals from the major scale. So if somebody says like a C sus4 chord, you're going to find the 4th note of that scale, and you're going to have an F note that's going to be added into the C, and the 3rd taken away. But not to get too specific on how you make these chords, but any number that you see has to do with in relation to the major scale.
That's right. And also sometimes you might hear people talk about numbers. You might hear somebody say, oh, play me a 1-4-5, or here's a 2-5-1, and they'll just say a key at you. I know when I was a younger player, I didn't know what any of that stuff means, and it was really intimidating. So kind of with the breakdown that Tom's given you with the scale degrees, you can do that pretty easily. If somebody says 2-5-1, well, he's giving you the numbers in the key of C, right? C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, A minor is 6, and B is 7, right? So what's 2? Well, C, D, okay, there's our 2 chord, D minor, right? Then the 5, C, D, E, F, G, there's the 5 chord, and then back to the 1. Well, we know 1 is C, and that describes our, that explains our number system.
The nice thing about the numbers that can start to make things make sense more versus actually saying chord names is because there's 12 keys that you can be playing in. To know all the chords, all 7 chords of all 12 keys is a lot more complicated than knowing how each number is a different type of chord quality. So if you know that 1 and 4 and 5 are major, and that 2 and 3 and 6 are minor, and that 7 is diminished, that gives you a leg up.
If you guys are having trouble with certain keys, obviously there's a lot of keys here. There's some theoretical stuff we went into. If you're having trouble seeing a certain key or being able to play in it, remember that if you're not playing a song in that key, you're probably not going to be able to see it or feel comfortable playing it on your instrument. So, it's all relative to what you're playing. If you have a problem playing an F sharp, you better start playing songs in F sharp.
And F sharp's a big one. It's important. It comes up a lot. So I just want to also go over just real quick how you play this C major scale in this form. So we showed you a second ago, we started over here, this 1 octave form of C major. Really, really important to know not only how to play it based off of the 5th string, but on the 6th string as well. And I think the 6th string shape is going to be even easier to play across 2 full octaves because we can stay in the same position. We don't have to shift up. So just real quick on this one, how you finger it. I'm just going to say finger numbers, okay? I'm not going to say intervals. I'm not going to say note names. I'm just going to say finger numbers. And every finger is going to be based on 1 fret only. So the 7th fret is the index, the 8th is the middle, the 9th is the ring, and the 10th is the pinky. So the fingering for this is 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2. Super simple. You can use it anywhere.
Yeah, Tom's right. You can use this anywhere. It's actually transposable. So if you know these forms that he's went over with you, and someone calls a song in E flat, well, if you find your E flat, remember we talked earlier about roots, here's E flat. If you play the same shape, it's going to be the E flat major scale. You might not know what all the notes are in it, but you know how to play E flat major, and you have some tool that you can use in the context of music.
That's right, and if you wanted to find out what the chords were in E flat major, you do the same thing we did earlier where you go through the intervals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and every interval in that scale is going to be a root note for the chords in that key.
Right.